Hi there guys, welcome back to another episode of 4K Garage. So in this episode, whereas in the last episode we worked on the front, getting the arches off, opening up the holes for the wheel nuts, rust proofing it all. This week I want to start working on the side skirts and the rear. There's a little bit less work in a way on the rear because of course I don't need to spend so much time, well I don't need to make any clearance to the wheels, I don't need to spend so much time rust proofing it all because by the end of the week we'll be getting it all welded up and then have to rust proof it again after that. Probably do a bit of that, probably do a bit on the side skirts as I say, talk about how I'm going to mount them a bit more solid. And also a few more bits on the diffuser. I've already got the arches and the side skirts off the car. I've already been working on the diffuser a little bit, so let me start off by showing you the latest update on that, and then we'll go on from there. Right, so it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but here is the latest update on the diffuser. As you can see, that is well and truly all glass fibered in there. As with most things, the actual fibre I've put on is more rigid and strong than the rest of it. So that's well and truly in there. The next stage is now to begin applying some glass fibre based body filler over the whole thing, smoothing that out, and then I'll go on to finer body filler, and it's just going to be a case of working it down and making some of these transitions a little bit nicer. As you can see, that's all a bit funny. I don't really like working with glass fibre. As soon as you try and apply more resin, it just tugs it all around and so on. So but that's all in there. It's all solid all round, and then that's the inside there. Definitely not pretty, but it doesn't really matter, nobody's going to see it. But I do give it the same treatment on this side, smooth it down, apply some filler and so on, but I probably won't do the fine stuff because, as I say, and the rest of the inside of the diffuser, you can see a lot of the raw FRP. So that's it for now. I'll probably put this to one side for this week because I don't actually need it, whereas I need to get the work done on the arches ready to be welded up. So let's move on to those. Right, so here's the side skirt off and the arch off. Now one thing I want to do with the side skirt is down this area it's all really loose when the side skirt's fitted, and there's this nice hole not too far away, but there's about 45mm gap between the side skirt and the hole there. So I want to try and get some bar with a threaded internal thread on it, like an M8 or something like that, and drop an M8 bolt down there, thread the extension on, and then I have a nice threaded hole for the side skirt to bolt into. So I'm going to do that on both sides. That's the only real thing in the side skirt. So I've already started opening out some of these holes for the wheel nuts. I might try and, as I said, round this arch out a little bit more. What I really want to do mainly this week is start making some templates for some decent metal cuts, so that when I go to my friend who's going to weld it up, a small fraction of the work is already kind of worked out, and we can just cut the sheet metal out to the templates I've made, weld it in, and there's a lot less drama. So that's the task for this week. So I mean, it might be a bit of a boring one just to kind of watch me do these little tasks, these kind of boring tidy up jobs, but hopefully I'll stick it on time lapse. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I can get some exciting stuff in between. I also need to work on the wing a little bit. As I mentioned previously, I'd really like some plates made with a captive nuts on them, just to hold the wing and the wing extensions down. So I'll probably move on to that as well. And then I'll probably have to drive the car to get it welded, so that'll be its maiden voyage in a way. I need to do a little alignment on it this week as well, just to get the rear toe sorted. So it's so much to do. So I'm just gonna crack on really.
You're a rolling stone, but I'm a cannonball.
Right, let me show you what I've been up to then. So you saw in the time lapse I was busy on this side, but I've been kind of busy all around the car. Started off down here. As I said, we had a bit of an issue where the side skirt was quite flimsy because it was only being really held by a screw there and then the arch. Side skirt has a rivet nut where a bolt goes through the arch and holds the two together, but still, of course, as you can imagine, that's not going to hold much. So there is this hole here, and I've just been able to get a M8 bolt in it, and I've been able to buy some stainless steel thread couplers, and I'm going to use that as a standoff to just kind of lower the OEM side skirt so that the aftermarket one can bolt up into it. That should hopefully hold it nice and sturdy. So I've been going around all these holes, making them a little bit larger, giving them a little rough spray of welded primer, and then a little bit of touch-up paint just to totally stop them from rusting. All the way down there, couple down there, hold the side skirt on. So then coming around to the other side, also made this arch cut a little bit rounder, much nicer now. Alright, so I've been playing around with the wing, and so I've made this little template that's literally as simple as it needs to be. And as you can see, if we put that up there we go, and then slide it into that corner, we will have a metal plate. Those dots are of course where the captive nuts need to be welded in, and we'll have a metal plate which, as you can see, even a bit of cardboard supports the weight pretty well without pulling through. And then likewise on the wing extension, I mean that can literally be a rectangle rather than having a curved edge, but all we need to do is pop it in, push it up into the wing extension. You know, we can bond it in right there with the captive nut in the middle, and that will just hold it down. Should support it fairly well. Right, so here we are again, and I really should be getting on with making the templates for the rear arches to be welded up, but I wanted to be a little bit creative today instead. I found some thick, very thick aluminium that I had laying around, and I thought rather than getting the brackets for the wing cut out of steel, getting a nut welded on, I could just use this aluminium here to cut the plates out, drill them, tap them, sort it then, you know, should hold the wing down a treat. So I'm going to get some of this cut out using these little templates I made, get those drilled, tapped, and we should be able to see the wing on the car. Just got all these plates made up, and the M8 bolt winds beautifully into them. Fantastic. Got this stuff, which is just a panel wipe for ceramic coat, so I'm sure that gets rid of any grease. Got a blob of sealer, got Tiger Seal, and then I will probably get these into the wing, put a few spacers there, and bolt them down so it kind of pulls them against the wing, and probably leave them like that, you know, overnight or something. Right, it seems like we have to wait on this for now. Mounting the wing, unfortunately. My only tube of Tiger Seal is totally gummed up on the inside. It's been sat for a couple of years, haven't used it. So I'll put this on hold for now. I'll put those plates away in a little container so they don't get all dusty and greasy. Hopefully that'll come through in a few days and we can get that mounted. With the wing waiting on the Tiger Seal so I can bond those plates in, I've been busy making some cardboard templates on the passenger side. And I mean, yeah, it's going pretty well, I would say. I got 5 templates, and as you can see, it's just kind of a case of once you can cut a bit of metal to establish a straight edge, then every other one is a funny shaped rectangle, rhombus, whatever you want to call it. And then we can cut that out of sheet metal, and some of these little areas like this, may even just be able to be pinched and then welded together. And we may need to take the bumper off and tidy up the way that fits on there. But I mean, I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out. I need to do driver's side now, so I'll set the camera up and do a time lapse of me doing that. You guys can watch along. Right, it's time to get crafty. So what I need to do, what I want to do, is take some card that I have here and start making up some templates as how best to go about filling in this void. Probably won't be absolutely perfect, but you know, like I say, if it even saves us an hour, 2 hours of time, half the sheet metal can be roughly cut to shape straight away. It's just so much easier. You don't have to think about it. First one I like to do is actually this here. You can square that up. So the way I like to do this particular one, to get a nice bright light, thanks to my ridiculously large cut, put the light inside the arch. And that means that when I hold up a bit of card, I can see the exact shape I need. There we go. Now I can work from there, go around the rest of it.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pit on my mind like standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I've no patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
Right, so here we are. So got all the templates here. There's 5 in total. So I've still got the light behind there, but there's 1. There's a gap between 1 and 2. So I'll probably make 1 a little bit wider. 2, 3, 4, and then a little one here, 5. Then I imagine what we'll do is we will simply pinch this kind of area together, weld it up, cut out a tiny little slither of metal like that. So when that's done, should have a nice sealed up arch. And then, I mean, the wide body's kind of done. Got to get it prepped, wrapped, sorted. Get this off. and start tidying up the rear arches and the side skirt. Right, so just to give you a small update, here's what I've been up to. So I fitted the rear diffuser, kind of temporarily, so I can drive the car and not have to worry about, of course, having no fog light, having no reverse light, so on. Also just kind of wanted to see how it fits and see how the light fits in there, which I would say fits pretty well. Might be a bit angled down, so I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, much like the rest of it, where you need to kind of fit it, take it off, shave it up, down. I would have to say that the diffuser is really difficult to fit. It's probably a bumper off job, to be fair. So at some stage I'm probably going to take the whole bumper off just to get this on, but considering it's going to come off again, I'm not too fussed for now. Also did a slight bit of shaving and fitted the side skirts again. And much like the rest of it, I think it's all gonna come off multiple times, kind of keep getting refined over and over. And of course, coming up to the bits I did last week, you can see some of it is really nice and flush. And as you get further down, the gaps really start to open up. There, for example. So it's just going to be a case of a lot of it's just going to have to come off, get refined and get put back on.
You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, so delusional. In an ocean of all this emotional. Best be sure, I'll be there when you're looking for something You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, so delusional. In an ocean of all this emotional. Best be sure, I'll be there when you're looking for something
Right, here we are. So arches are on, along with the side skirts, and I had a little toy around with the gap, and in a lot of areas, very, very good. Bit of a gap there still, but then there's no gap here, and no gap majority of the way around. I think in some areas I do actually need to add a little bit of material, so I'm going to wait until I've got it back from welding. You probably saw I've got a makeshift seal between the two layers just so I can drive down the road, get it welded up, and not have to worry about loads of mud, leaves, other garbage flying into the car. I think I've got some little bits planned for the diffuser as well, how to better secure that, as well as reveal that light a tiny bit more. Got some new trailing arms coming today. I've already got the old ones off. Tomorrow I'm going to get the wheel centered up, give it a quick string alignment, and then be on my way to get the car welded. So I'll be driving it for the first time. see how it goes on the new wheels, tyres, suspension, brakes, body kit. Should be good fun. Right, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. May have been a bit of a long one, a lot of time lapses, probably a bit boring. But this is just kind of the part of the process where it really kind of takes all the time to just perfect and refine the car and the kit and the fitment and everything about it, really. Like I keep saying, I want to do things right the first time rather than come back to it in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months later and find that something I did at the time was a bit half-assed and therefore needs to be redone. So as I say, tomorrow, giving it a little alignment, and then moving on to getting the arches welded. So I hope you're excited for that one. I know I am. It'd be the first time the car's been out on the road. It'd be my first time driving it in months. First time with the new wheels, new suspension, new everything. So I'll bring you along for the ride. Until then, do a good YouTube stuff. As I always say, have a good one. Cheers. Bye-bye.